students, today we will talk about constraints. What are constraints? These are geometrical or kinematical restrictions on the motion of a particle or a system of particle. And these restrictions on the particle defines the position of the particle. If the number of constraints increases, we are just approaching to the definite position of the particles. For example, let us consider you have your timetable, and in timetable you should be present in your college, and for a specific subject or specific period you have allotted some room number. Now let us consider at 12 noon you are present in your college, and for the prescribed subject the room number is 50. Now we are just giving you kinematical and geometrical restriction that every working day from Monday to Friday you are present in your college. In At 12 noon you are present in that particular specific room. It means every can find out your position at 12 noon in the working days. Similarly, if in the particular classroom you all are just guided to sit according to your roll number from left to right, we can even now more specifying your presence or your position in the space. So the number of constraint, as the number of constraint increases, your degree of freedom decreases. It means we are just specifying your position in the space again and again. Let us consider this is your college, and this is the room where you have to present at 12 in the noon, and we guided you to sit according to your roll number from 1 to so on. Let us consider you overall 50 students in the class. It means I can find out you in your college, because you are restricted to be present in your college at 12 noon, and at that particular room number I will find out according to your sitting plan, which you are sitting according to your roll number. These physical restrictions, these geometrical restrictions, or this kinematical restriction, that is the restriction on your motion, are known as constraint. It means more the constraint, more your position is specified. As you increases the number of constraints, for example, you have to present in the college from 9 to 2:30. It means I am not just specifying your position at 10 or 11. Just I am just specifying your position that you are present in the college, but I don't know where you are present. Uh, this is the first constraint I have applied on you, that you have to present on in the college from 9 to 2:30. Second, if I apply another constraint on you, that at 12 you have to present in some room number, it means I am just more specifying your position. Now I am eligible to find out you in the whole college at this room number. And if I applied the third constraint, just the sitting arrangement is like that, you are sitting from left to right according to your roll number, it means I am just fully defined your position in the college at 12 in a given room, and in given room where you are sitting at a particular seat or at a particular bench, I can identify you very easily. As the number of constraint increases, the position or the definition of the system can be well defined. These are the uh, some significance of constraints makes the problem easy, so that we can easily define the system. uh, on the basis of many criteria, there are four type of constraints we are going to just define today first is known as holonomic constraint. Let us consider there is a particle and we make the particle to move on the circumference of this circle having radius a, and we know that the particle is not going to move outward or far away from the center or move towards the center, and we know that this particular geometrical pattern or figure in which the particle is moving can be given like this: x square plus y square is equal to a square. That is the equation, mathematical equation or representation of a circle, where a is representing the radius and x and y are representing the particle motion or the circumference at a different interval of time in which the particle is moving. In this equation, the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. This representation of a constant, you restricted the motion of the particle. The particle can't move inside the circle. The particle is restricted to move outwards the circumference. Hence, you applied a physical restriction, and that physical restriction is represented by a mathematical equation where left hand side is equal to right hand side. It means this is a holonomic constraint. What are holonomic constraints? These are the again physical or kinematical restrictions or geometrical restriction on a particle. Maybe it is a system of particle, maybe it is a single particle. Holonomic constraints or constraints can be applied on one particle system as well as many particle system. Now in this case you restricted the motion, and the mathematical representation of this motion is given with the help of left hand side terms is equal to the right hand side term. If a constraint can be represented by an equation, then this type of constraint is known as holonomic constraint. For example, this is a single example of a holonomic constraint. Similarly, let us consider now the particle is moving in a straight line, and here C is the intercept which the straight line is just making on y-axis, and let us consider the slope, that is tangent theta is equal to m in this case. Now if the particle is moving in this direction on this straight line, you very well know that this is the equation of the particle motion. Y is equal to mx plus c. Here again the left hand side terms are equal to right hand side terms. It means again we are representing holonomic constraint. So we can explain holonomic constraint. These are the constraint in which the constraint is represented or expressed as equation where the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Similarly, if we have two particles, let us consider these are two particles in space, and these two particles have let us consider this is our ith particle and this is our jth particle. This is the position vector of the first particle, ith particle, and this is the position vector of the jth particle regarding to the origin O. Then what is the displacement vector, that is Rij, if the body is the rigid one? If the particles have a constant distance in between them, the particles distance does not changes regarding to each other, then the body is said to be rigid. It means Ri, the difference in between Ri and Rj will not change even a small force is applied on the system. It means the Rj minus Ri vector, that is a constant quantity, and that constant quantity is some distance. Let us consider this distance is represented here by like this, and the magnitude of this remains constant. If the magnitude remains constant, we can substitute it like that the distance or the difference between the two particles remain constant in case of a rigid body. Hence for a rigid body case, this condition is that the distance in between them will not change with respect to time. Hence, these all are the representation of the holonomic constraint. Similarly, there are some constraints which are known as non-holonomic constraint. Non-holonomic constraints are those constraints which are not holonomic. It means if a particle is allowed to move inside a sphere or the particle is allowed to move outside a sphere, we can represent the presence of the inside particle or the outside particle in a sphere, not in a circle here in this case. We can represent it x square plus y square plus z square may be greater than a square, or x square plus y square plus z square may be less than a square, where a is representing the radius of the given sphere. In both the condition, in the first condition or in the second condition, both the particles in are whether inside the sphere or whether they are outside the sphere, they are not representing left hand side is equal to right hand side. The equations are unequal, may be greater than or may be less than. Then this type of constrained motion is known as non-holonomic constraint. Hence, in case of non-holonomic constraints, the geometrical restriction or the kinematical restriction, or we can say the constraints, are represented by such mathematical equations where left hand side is not equal to right hand side. Left hand side may be greater than left right hand side or may be less than right hand side. Similarly, we can represent the many motion. In this case, if the body is a non-rigid body, then in that case the ri minus rj magnitude will not remain constant. It can increase or it can decrease. It depends what sort of forces you are applying on the system. If you are moving them apart with certain push or pull, then the distance between the particles increases. But if you are applying certain forces that are forcing the particles to move towards each other, then the distance in between them will decrease. Such type of representation of constraints with unequal equation may be less than or may be greater than symbol. These type of constraints are known as non-holonomic constraints. Again, there are some constraints which are time based and some constraints which are independent of time. Now, on the dependency of time, whether they are dependent on time, whether they are independent of time, we have two type of constraints. One is known as scleronomic constraint and another is known as rheonomic constraint. In case of scleronomic constraints, the constraints are independent of time. It means the motion of the particle which is under constraint, under some physical or geometrical or kinematic restrictions, these are not depending upon time. Now, if let us consider an example. If we have a wire, let us consider the wire in abacus, and we have a sliding bead on this wire, and this bead is allowed to move along the wire. The wire, if the wire is in rest, it is not moving with respect to another about its axis or any other given axis, then the constraint is independent of time. The wire is forced to move, forced, given a constraint that this bead is to move on this wire. It means we applied a constraint, but this constraint, whether the bead moves slow, whether it move fast, we are not applying any sort of conditions. It means this is a representation of scleronomic constraint. It means the motion is independent of time. The constraint is independent of time. The constraints which are independent of time are known as scleronomic constraint. But the constraints which are time dependent, it means the motion is depending upon time directly or indirectly somehow, then the constraint is said to be rheonomic. Now let us consider this wire is just rotating about a given axis. Just this wire is allowed to rotate about a given axis, and when it is completing one rotation, then the bead is completing this whole length. It means we just connected the motion of the bead with this rotation or with this time period. As the time period of the rotation, we just connected the time period of our bead. It means when the one rotation of our wire is completed, the bead will move from the first end to the another end. It means we have some dependency of time here. The motion is now depending upon time. Then this type of constraints are known as rheonomic constraints. If the motion is time dependent, if the constraint is time dependent, then this type of constraint is known as rheonomic constraint, which you can easily identify if a weather constraints equation, if we are representing the constraint with the help of any mathematical equation, and in mathematical equation we are getting some sort of equation like that: r1 minus r2, that is a function of time period. It means the equation of the constraint is depending upon time, hence this is a rheonomic constraint. If this equation is not depending upon time, just we are representing it like that, that is a constant. Whether it constant is a time, time is not changing, it remains constant, it means this equation is independent of time, and then this is representation of a scleronomic constraint. In this sort of example, where the particle is moving on the bead and the wire is also rotating about its own axis, then this sort of constraint having two type. First, the bead is moving in a straight line. It can be represented with the help of an equation where left hand side terms are equal to right hand side. It means this is a holonomic constraint, where the constraint is also depending upon time. One motion is related with the another motion. The rotational motion is connected with the motion of the bead in the wire. Then this is a rheonomic constraint also. It means the motion or the constraint can be of two type at simultaneously. Simultaneously it is holonomic and it is rheonomic as well. Now, what are the difficulties when we just study constraints? There are two difficulties or two limitations when we just introduce constraint or when we study constraint. As we just give an example, everywhere we are just relating one coordinate to another. Here we are relating x coordinate to y. If we specify x, we can find out y because y is depending upon x. Similarly here, again, if we find put the values of x, we will find the value of y. It means in all these example of constraints, we are getting the coordinates are dependent on each other, and due to the coordinate dependency, they are dependent on each other. We have to find out a lot of relationship in between the coordinates. If we are taking a 1 mole of particles, it means we have 10 raised to power 22 order number of particles, and to find out the dependency of each particle coordinate to with the another or with the n minus 1 particles, it may become our just problem very complex. So we have to remove this dependency of coordinate, and to remove this dependency of coordinate, instead of our Cartesian coordinates, instead of our cylindrical coordinates, we here used generalized coordinate system, which we will just study in our further lectures. So how you just remove the dependency of coordinate, instead of using the dependent coordinates, that is Cartesian coordinates, your spherical coordinates, we just uh, convert them into generalized coordinate, and generalized coordinate has a characteristic that the coordinates are no longer dependent on each other. Next, limitation or difficulty introduced by the constraint is that we don't know the forces, we just don't introduce the forces, which makes the equation geometrically restricted or kinematically restricted. In all the cases where the particle is moving on the circumference of a circle, whether the particle is moving in a straight line, whether particle is moving along a bead, sorry, the bead is moving along a wire, we just don't mention what type of forces are forcing the particle to be in that geometrical restriction, or applying kinematical restriction, or applying physical restriction. Here the forces are not known initially. To make this limitation overcome, we just don't use required such type of equation where forces are required. We just use energy factor or equations we where we can use energy. Hence, there are two limitations: coordinates are dependent on each other, forces are not known initially. The first difficulty is removed by using generalized coordinate, and the second difficulty is removed by using energy instead of forces. And this is whole about constraint. This is a very simple and a very interesting topic, and there are a lot of examples about constraint in your daily life. Also, you can correlate your restricted motions or motion of any mechanical body, and you can easily find out whether it is holonomic, non-holonomic, scleronomic, or rheonomic.